Hello, welcome to another episode of Optics Trade Debates here at Optics Trade headquarters. Today we'll be with you, Andras.
My name is Theodor. Hello.
And today we're going to be discussing another basic topic, which is radical illumination. And I've accumulated a few questions, the most common ones that we receive over email or in the comments. And the first one that refers to this very topic is, why is radical illumination important?
Well, you know, in the past, all riflescopes were without reticle illumination, and when they were used in dusk and dawn, the problem arose that if the reticle was not really thick, you didn't see the reticle. So the common problem is, if you have a non-illuminated reticle, is that when you are looking at the target or an animal, if you're a hunter, in low light situation, you can still see a little bit of the target or an animal, but you're not able to see the reticle if it's thin. So in the past, let's say when 6x42 scopes were the most common in Europe at least, or 8x56, the manufacturers, they did really thick reticles so that you were able to see it even in low light. But then when you were using them during the daylight, the problem was that they covered too much of the target.
I see.
So manufacturers then started to produce thinner reticle, but then of course without illumination you were not able to see them when the light was not the best. So the next step was to do the reticle illumination. That means that you still are able to see the target or the animal in low light situation, and then you just illuminate part of the reticle or only at the center dot with a really fine light, not too bright, so that you're able to see where is the center of the reticle.
Okay, I can see that we have here both riflescopes of the wide angle type, and we have here riflescopes that are more meant for shooting in daytime, in dusk and twilight. And I would like to ask you, I see that they both have illumination, both types. What type of illumination do wide angle type have, and what type those meant for dusk?
Well, this is also a very important question, because now majority of all riflescopes have reticle illumination, but very different ones. If you're looking at the scope for low light use, then you need an illumination which is really fine, which is the intensity is really low, so that it's not too much. Because in low light situation, the first thing what can happen is that if illumination is too strong, then your eye will be able to see the illuminated reticle only and not what is behind it. You will not be able to see the animal or a target. And so these riflescopes with 50 like this or 56mm objective lens, which are meant for low light use, they feature twilight illumination. That means that all the settings are really low, and that the illumination is really fine, so that it's not too strong and it's not too bright. Because if it's too bright, you're not able to see through the riflescope, you only see the reticle. With wide angle scopes, like this one, 0.75 to 6x20 from Swarovski, or 1 to 6 from Leica, the illumination of the reticle has a completely different purpose. Here you need a daytime bright red dot inside of the reticle. So you need a central part of the reticle illuminated, but really bright, so that when you are aiming, when you're doing the target acquisition, you immediately focus on the red dot, because it's so strong, and because these riflescopes, they're used in daytime bright environments. So driven hunts, they're all done in daytime, even in bright sunlight, and so this type of illumination has to be daytime bright and really strong, so that you're able to see the illuminated dot even when the sun is shining and when you have all the light available.
So in short, these riflescopes of the wide angle type have a strong dot for daytime brightness, and these riflescopes meant for shooting in dusk and twilight do not have such a strong dot, so that it can fit better with the ambient light when it's dusky, when it's a little darker.
Here is the illumination, it's really fine, where here it's really strong. Also the difference is in size. The central part, usually in this hunting rifle scopes, only the central part is illuminated, so you have a central dot in the center of the reticle. With wide angle type of rifle scopes, it can be bigger. With twilight rifle scopes, it's smaller, it's finer, it's nicer.
Because you also shoot on the shorter distances with these, right?
Yeah. And normally, bigger the dot, the faster you will notice it, the faster the eye will concentrate on the bright red dot in the center of the field of view.
I see. So before moving on to the next question, I have to explain that on our web store, with the Reticle Illumination, we either signify that there is a central illuminated dot, or there are lines that are illuminated. There are two possible ways. So what is the advantage of the first type and what is the advantage of the second type and disadvantages?
Yeah, so we said that the first barrier is to have a illuminated reticle or non-illuminated reticle.
That's right.
If you have the illuminated reticle, then you have two groups. Daytime bright illuminated reticles for driven hunts in wide angle scopes, and twilight illuminated reticle. Then the twilight illuminated reticle still are divided in additional two groups. Hunting illuminated reticles with only central dot, small central dot illuminated. Some tactical scopes also have this, that only the small central dot is illuminated. But all other tactical scopes which have advanced, usually first focal plane reticles, like Horus reticles or similar, then they will be of no use if only the central dot will be illuminated. So sometimes they have the entire reticle illuminated. It is an advantage for a tactical rifle scope with an advanced reticle, but on the other side, it is a disadvantage because more of the surface that it's illuminated, the bigger will be the problem to see something behind this reticle. So the illumination in tactical scopes like this, which have Horus or similar reticles, and which the entire reticle is illuminated, the problem can be that if illumination intensity is too strong, you will immediately only see the reticle.
So the eye naturally focuses on the illuminated lines, instead of the background.
You know, if you have the field of view full of lines and dots and so on, it's sometimes hard to concentrate on the target behind it. But on the other side, if you have a reticle which is so advanced, if it wouldn't be illuminated, then it's of no use. So there is a little bit of a compromise with these tactical scopes which have entire reticle illuminated.
So we basically talked about the rifle scopes that do have reticle illumination, but we also have rifle scopes that do not have reticle illumination.
True.
Which scopes are these?
Well, in hunting segment we have old scopes, the classic traditional scopes, which are without illumination, and also I would say mostly the hunting rifle scopes without illumination are those which are competing on the price level. So you're able to produce a really good optics and you lower the price of manufacturing by not including the illumination. I do think that this rifle scope, this type, will vanish sooner or later, and all of the rifle scopes for hunting will have illuminated reticle. Even though there are people who never use it. Let's be honest, somebody who is doing stalking during the day or doing hunting in the mountains during the daytime, they will never need illumination. But still, I think that in the future all hunting scopes will have illumination. The same goes for tactical. All tactical scopes sooner or later will have illumination if they already don't have it. Where the illumination is not needed and will not be introduced is with target scopes. When you're shooting on paper, you need as thin as possible. It has to be, the reticle has to be as thin as possible, and you have no use of illumination. If you're shooting on white paper during the day, the illumination is of no use, but it usually can thicken the reticle. So if it has the illumination, usually the reticle is not as thin as it is with non-illuminated reticles. So with target scopes, I think that majority of them will not have illumination also in the future, because it's not needed, and it can only be a disadvantage because the central dot is too big. It covers too much of the target.
I think that these were all the questions. You answered most of them.
Well, I would say about one question which we missed, I think, is how we control the illumination.
Of course, the obvious one.
I would say majority of scopes have the control for the illumination on the side, on the side turret, like here. I think I have to pull it out, yeah, like this, or like this. You pull it out, and then you go to plus and minus. And there is the main difference here with this system. Here is the same. Is that some of them have you can set the intensity level of the illumination without any preset settings, so it's continuous, like with this Doctor or with this Steiner. Or you can have, like with this Vortex, you can have 10 different preset intensity levels. This is the most common. Then with some European premium brands, you have the illumination unit on the eyepiece, so that it's closer to your, so that it's easier to reach it with your hand. And then you have either with a Swarovski where you have a switch, or with Leica where you move where you turn the entire unit. Size has similar, and so on. So these are two basic positions of the illumination systems, either on the eyepiece or on the side turret.
Now I think that we have basically covered everything.
Yeah.
So
if we didn't,
yeah,
write questions.
That's right. Write questions or send us an email, and also subscribe to our channel. Thank you very much.
Bye.